This is what we are. We are.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Cool. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Ardouin Fumat. I'm a technologist focused on data and ethics. So I have 8 years of experience designing and developing data visualization projects. My most significant work experience was at the Office for Creative Research, a hybrid studio based in New York that had a lot of work around data installations, exploration tools around information security. We had data performances for theater shows. We had open science projects around wildlife conservation. But what I'm going to talk about today is a subject very close to my heart, which is privacy, digital agency, and data ownership, and especially its relation to advertising. So let's get to it. I'm going to show you 3 projects. The first one is called Behind the Banner. And it was a very fun project to work on. Adobe came to us, it was in 2012. They came to us to understand better how does targeted online advertising work. Because the funny thing is that in 2012, no one really understood very well how they were being targeted by advertising online. But the truth of the matter is that even marketers had no clue, and this is the reason. What you're looking at here is a chart that maps all the actors and technology stacks involved in tracking people online. And as you can see, it's an insane mess that no one could really understand. So we did our research, created a bunch of diagrams, and ended up creating this interactive animated visualization that shows the process to marketers, but also to regular people, to explain to them how they were being tracked online by big companies. So we're walking you through the process of showing you, OK, you're opening a web page, say the New York Times, and there's a frame that hosts a banner, an ad banner. So what the New York Times is going to do, they're going to reach out to ad exchanges that are going to be contacting a number of data brokers that will compose a partial portrait of your online identity based on your age, gender, education, preferences, friends, and so on and so on. And then you're going to be, your profile is going to be sent to ad exchanges with hundreds or even thousands of publishers that will bid on you and define who wants to put the most money on your head to sell you crap. The winner of the auction ends up, getting the ad impression, and they will send back a customized ad to be displayed in your web browser. So fun stuff. What's really impressive about this is this insane process that involves hundreds of actors and technologies is happening in a matter of like 20 milliseconds. Every single time you start a web page, which is kind of mind-blowing because that tends to happen a lot in a day. So yeah, very interesting. And we were very excited, to have a very bird's-eye view of the entire targeting advertising system as a whole. But we wanted to take this research deeper and wanted to explore what it means for regular individuals to be targeted online. What does it mean in my life, when I'm browsing on a daily basis? And obviously, it's a very vast subject, but we wanted to look specifically at ads. Like, what kind of ads am I seeing based on my own digital profile? So we were commissioned by the Ford Foundation to look at this very specifically, and we started by looking at our own ads, which was really fun. What you're looking at here is 1 month worth of ads as a mosaic, 1 month of ads seen by my coworker, and you can see that, you get served a lot of ads in your browser during your daily browsing. And what's really cool about this is as soon as you start seeing this in aggregate, instead of having very punctual banners popping up in your experience on the web, you start being able to see patterns, recurring themes, products, services sold to you. And you can make some interesting inferences and reverse engineer the way advertisers perceive you as an individual. So for instance, here, if I was to look at it in more details, and let's say I'm seeing a lot of ads advertising for online dating apps, I might infer that that person might be single. If they're being advertised a lot of light bulbs on Amazon, maybe they've been peeing in the dark for the past 3 days. Anything, really. Anything can go. And so this experiment was pretty fun, so we wanted to open it to other people. We created this project called FloodWatch, which is a Chrome extension that lets people collect all the ads that they're seeing in their daily browsing. So the extension does this automatically for you. For instance, here it captures an ad. Oh, is the video playing? I'm not sure. Oh. Great. So hopefully it will play. Yeah, that's great. And then the extension will collect all of that stuff over months of a month's period and let you visualize all the ads collected in aggregate. And it lets you sort and filter them by format, by time of collection, by publishers, by colors, and so on and so on. Many different options that let you reveal some interesting patterns. And what's really cool about this, where it gets really exciting for us, is when we started being able to classify those ads. We hired Mario Klingemann, who's a good friend of ours, who's a machine learning expert, who helped us classifying ads based on the products or services they were selling. So on the right here, you can see a bunch of cameras, cars, you can see sunglasses and whatnot. And what's really cool is when you start cross-referencing the type of products that people are being sold with their demographic information, it gets really fascinating. For instance, as a white dude living in my 20s in New York, I get sold, very different type of products than, let's say, black women in Florida or elsewhere, whatever. And the next version of FloodWatch lets you do exactly that. Compare the ad profile, the type of ads that you were being shown in your browser, compared to other averaged user from other demographics. So it's really interesting because it lets you not only, for instance, identify discriminatory practices in online advertising, such as redlining, but even as an individual, as a user, it's really cool to see what makes you unique as an individual in the eyes of the advertisers. So very fun stuff, but I was getting frustrated with this because, when you work in data visualization, you spend a lot of time observing the world, and sometimes you want to start, making some sort of impact. And I was wondering in which ways I could create a tool that would not just inform the public about the ways they were targeted online, but also in which ways they could fight back. So this is what this project is about. It's called Deface. It really came about, I'm sorry, it's like the 10th time you're seeing Mark Zuckerberg on the screen, but we have to. It's pretty relevant. So it really comes with the realization that the Cambridge Analytica scandal, it's not a data breach, it's not a leak, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's the way the platform is meant to be used. It literally tracks people, collects data about them, and sells them to third parties. That's how it works. So, the Cambridge Analytica scandal is really just the last consequence of one decade of abusive practices, as far as I'm concerned. And not only that, but we're also realizing that governments themselves are more and more inclined to use those technologies, specifically social media content, to power their surveillance machines and their deportation machines pretty much all over the world. So what do we do about this? Well, fortunately, not everything is dark. There's a bunch of really cool apps out there that really, I think, do a tremendous job at protecting people's communications. I'm thinking specifically of Signal that has been encrypting the communications of millions of people. But inherently, there's one inherent weakness to those tools, which is they're only protecting one-to-one conversations. And I'm thinking, how about public conversations online? Like how about the post I put on Facebook? How about my tweets? How about my pictures on Instagram? So this is why I started designing and developing Deface, which is, it's very simple. It's an app that prevents Facebook from reading people's messages. And I'm going to do something really stupid here. I'm going to show you a video of Deface in action, although it's a total prototype, super unpolished, unfinished, experimental. Actually, to tell you the truth, the only person who saw this video is my girlfriend, so this is how intimate we're getting here. Anyway, I'm going to not make you wait anymore. So what you're looking at here is two screens from two friends on Facebook, Dade and Kate. And Dade has installed Deface. So he has installed Deface, and now he's given more options in his Facebook experience. He can still post regular messages that are readable by Facebook, advertisers, and governments. But he now also has the option to post encrypted messages that are only readable by humans. So he's going to do this. And maybe you might see on the screen, it's tiny, but there's this little green shield, very cute, that shows that Dave's message is encrypted. We're going to switch to Kate's screen, and she's going to visit her friend's profile page. And remember, she has not Deface installed on her computer. So when she sees Dave's message, it is a garbled string of characters that is absolutely unreadable either by machines or humans. And at the end, it says, this message was encrypted with Deface, with a link to the app. So, well, Kate is pretty frustrated with this, so hopefully she will do the effort of installing the extension herself. That's what she's going to do here. And go back to Dade's profile page. And she still cannot read his message. And that's because we forgot about one last critical step about this, about the setup of Deface. Kate has to confirm that she's a human being. And this is really the core aspect of this system, is that you have to authenticate as a human, because the decentralized database is not accessible to robots and algorithms. And that's it. Once Kate has authenticated as a human, she can safely communicate with Dade and all of their friends from this point on. So, thank you. So why am I doing this? I have to say, it makes me so happy to just imagine seeing Facebook engineers' face in the morning. You know, they're waking up to discover that all the content posted on Facebook is encrypted all of a sudden. I'm really, really excited about that. But more seriously, though, I think we need a debate that challenges the view according to which there's no possible privacy in public digital spaces. I think we're pretty good at encrypting private communications, but we need this for the public space. And we need, of course, to challenge Facebook's position of power. We need to protect ourselves from robots. This is also the obvious one, because what Deface does is not so much about protecting, it's not bulletproof encryption the same way Signal is. What it really is just a protection against robots. But when you think about it, you know, the vast majority of mass surveillance occurs by sweeping through millions of messages at once. And what Deface does is preventing that from happening. So it would have the potential to maybe raise the cost of mass surveillance by millions and millions of dollars. And finally, I really consider this project more like a research effort more than a tech solution, because I don't really believe in them. It's really more about planting the seeds of content appropriation on social media. Deface, I don't think, is so much about Facebook or encryption. Really, the same concepts could be applied for any platform, for any kind of purpose. And I think that if I can, hope for any kind of future on social media, I hope the people will be provided with tools and will be able to create tools for themselves that support agency online and their own decisions and, creating their own content under their own terms. This is what I'm hoping for, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next on stage, I want to invite Katarzyna, who is coming all the way from Warsaw in Poland. and is leading the Panopticon Foundation. So welcome, Katarzyna. Okay, I need to hug you in this side. So, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing lawyer in the room with designers. I really think that those meetings beyond where we normally go and talk, they can bring a lot of inspiration, and this is what we are coming here for. So my day job is to work in my organization called Panopticon. Panopticon's work is actually all about bridging gaps, the gap between how people want to live and what people need, how technology works today, and how law regulates that technology. So basically what we try to do, we try to convince regulators and lawmakers to improve those regulations, but to be more effective in that work, we need to convince people first, shake them and make them stop and rethink the way they interact with technology and what they get from technology instead. So what makes our work quite complicated is the fact that, as you all know by now, tracking is not visible. Usually when we go online, where average users go online, they don't experience tracking the way Ian described before. They don't have all those tools, visualizations, prompts that we have as designers, as lawyers, as researchers. So our job is to try to help them get to the right picture. What probably can be done by average person is move back and realize what websites we visited, correct? This is not extremely complicated, but yet can be quite revealing. I don't know how many of you do this on a regular basis, but moving back in Google searches or a website history can be quite telling. But what is really interesting is the moment when we get to patterns, to understanding the patterns of our behavior and the deeper picture of our life that is revealed by metadata, by the way we use our devices, by revealing all those little pieces of data that most of users don't even realize that they generate. This is where the problem starts, yes? That the most tasty data that gets revealed.
In randomness, we trust.